Appreciate your taps, man.
But I wanted to tell you. So I don't know if I ever told you. I'm also a coach as well. Um, so, but usually, I mean, I kind of do the same thing. Majority of every other coaches do. Um, dating, general life advice, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so I you know, I just like. I mean, I like supporting a lot of other creators as well. You know, always tapping the screen, giving the gifts as much as I can.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so and again, if I have any dating questions or stuff for you, I'll just ask you.
Sounds good, brother. Appreciate your support. You take it easy,
Yeah, no
Sam.
problem.
All right. Danny, my boy, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. There we go. I was wondering where the camera was.
Yeah.
What's happening, man?
Figured I'd kick us off while we're waiting on the gentleman to
Right,
come on up and get some
right.
encouragement for them. So I know earlier this week you were talking to a young man. He was talking about why like planning dates or being a gentleman, like following the sidewalk rule stuff doesn't work. And I thought it would be helpful if we expanded on the difference between those things and creating attraction. For me, I think I've learned to see it as like when you plan quality dates or when you follow kind of certain courtesies, you're not creating attraction, but you're creating a container where attraction can grow.
Mm-hmm.
I think in one of our previous streams we talked about, like for example, following the sidewalk rule, and instead of just stepping in between, you physically pull her away from the road and you exercise like light dominance like that, things that would create more attraction, but you're doing it within like a polite frame.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like it goes back to spark and safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
So spark is anything that makes women desire you. It creates tension. I like to think of spark as taking a social risk. So everything that generates spark is things like we said before. The doorway to it is courage because you're taking a social risk, right? So being bold, being confident, having a sense of humor, playfully teasing, escalating, being smooth in your attempts to escalate. All of those are social risks to a degree, meaning that they can be rejected, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
safety is anything that makes a woman feel safe and connected with you. So emotional intelligence, emotional attunement, um, being chivalrous, right? Protecting, providing, being a leader. Those are things that make women feel safe. So safety is like one, if you're just all spark heavy, you're just giving the wrong impression, right? Men who are more spark heavy, they're going to come across as like only one thing, being fuck boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Non-serious people, and they can get like one night stands or very quick physical intimate physically intimate experiences, but the woman is not going to trust that you're going to stick around for any foreseeable amount of time, right? So it probably isn't a good idea to procreate with you, given that safety is missing. Now, some people may push back on that and be like, "Well, it seems like a lot of baby daddies are more spark heavy, and things happen." But especially the more mature the woman is, the more safety is going to be important, right? The more psychologically developed she is, the more safety is going to be important. The younger she is, the more um, immature she is, the less developed she is, the more she's going to prioritize spark, right? So a lot of guys think that they think making the woman like them is making her feel as safe as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is true to a degree, but it does not make her desire you. Liking you and desiring you are two different things. That's a video. Because like people say, if she
It's a
likes you for
bar.
real, right? Like, but it's like no, like when she friend zones you, she likes you, right?
Mm-hmm.
She friend zones you, she likes you. Desiring you is different. So you have to give off some sort of spark traits in order for her to um, desire you in any way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of guys are missing because they grow up and they the media, these TV shows, movies, Disney World type of orientations kind of teach them
Yeah.
how to be likable but not desirable, right? And there's nothing in the media that really teaches men how to be desirable. And the only examples of that are somewhat accurate are situations where the guy's given just spark and no safety. So I don't know if you ever seen the show Californication. You ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
I watched that back
Yeah.
in the day when I first got into like this world, and I was like, it was recommended to watch how he engaged with the opposite sex, and he was very effective, right? But it was just all
Mm-hmm.
it was all spark. Um, every other example I can name that you would see in the media is also like very spark heavy. You don't really see.
Right. You don't really see a balance of both. They're usually
Right.
either
Hold on.
obviously plot convenience makes it work for those guys.
Right. Hold on. Hold on. Someone said Fresh Prince. Fresh Prince. Spark. Say. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think.
Mm,
That is a fair call out. Yeah. I would say Fresh Prince was spark heavy, but he did have a
mm,
dose of safety there. I would give you that. Yeah. 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 I mean, Will definitely was very spark heavy, but he did also give a fair. I would say like 80% spark, 20% safety. Right. So that was a
that's a
good.
very well.
And like I always say, that guys like are one or the other. The reality is
Yeah.
the ratio is just very top heavy, right? So a spark guy would be like 80, 90% spark. And then the safety guy would be like 80 or 90% safety. And then 10 or 20%
Right.
spark. So it's really just, but guys think you have to be 50-50. That's not really the case. The real approach is going to be having situational awareness and knowing what is needed at that moment, right? To know is this something a situation to give more spark or a situation to give more safety, right? Like if she's coming to you with the concern, is this a situation where you can do the Biggie Small shit and like make a joke out of the situation and change her state that way, or is this a moment for you to be a masculine container and actually hear what she's saying, right? So it's a delicate balance, but for most guys, it's just going to be just identifying which side they lean towards and then just incorporating traits from the other side. It's really not that complicated. Like once they understand it, once I break this down to a guy, they at least have the awareness and know where their gap. Then it just becomes like, are you going to be courageous enough to actually execute it? The harder, like the spark thing is easier. The safety thing is harder because like it going from a spark guy to incorporating more safety is harder because safety a lot of safety is predicated on your emotional intelligence and your ability to attune with the opposite sex. And if you're disconnected from your own emotional landscape, that's going to be hard. This actually overlaps with attachment styles too. Avoidant men tend to be spark heavy.
Mm,
Anxious men
yeah.
tend to be safety heavy, right? That makes sense as soon as I said it, right? Like avoidant guys,
Yeah.
they're not really giving much safety. They're giving a lot of spark though. They're giving the shadow side of spark. Remember, there's a distinction there,
Yeah.
right? Like there's.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Definitely the shadow side. I think
Mm-hmm.
my I think the more I kind of thought about it, the more I kind of thought because we talked about orientation towards spark and safety as opposed to skills, and I think for young men, the my dog wants to go. Um, the safety oriented guys, I think, are usually the ones that probably came up and had to deal with more chaotic households or unpredictable emotions. So they built this habit of being um, compliant or being the good kid, the one that did their grades, did their
Right.
chores, didn't talk back to keep the peace.
Right.
Whereas the avoidant or not the spark oriented men are probably the ones that were more used to either abandonment or negligence. So they've learned that like calmness or or peace, it might be threatening somatically. So they're usually the ones that they're the kids that act up in class, chopped it up,
Right.
because they wanted to keep attention. Because
Right.
if you lose attention, then that's kind of like a threat to safety.
100%.
So that
Yeah.
that's kind of how I perceive
I
it.
love how thoughtful you are about this. Told y'all Danny's basically a coach at this point. But like both like anxious and avoidant, right? When you have those insecure styles, both of them are given the shadow aspect. The avoidant person is given the shadow aspect of spark, and the anxious person is given the shadow aspect of safety, right? So like the anxious guy is not given, he's not really providing the type of like positive oriented safety, which would be like leadership and he may offer a little bit of attunement, but a lot of it is going to be like, if you look at like the typical nice guy, right? They're just going to avoid conflict. People pleasing, exactly. 100%. So they're not really leading, they're not really providing safety, they're just appeasing the other person. And that makes the woman feel safe short term, but then long term, there's a cost to it, right? Same thing with the avoidant. You get a short term benefit, but long term, you pay a price. So you want to transition to, the healthier orientations of spark and the healthier orientations of safety. And CJ, yes, spark sense of humor is on the spark end of the spectrum. So yeah, you start factoring in a few of those things, man. Like you're good. That don't mean you're gonna get every woman. That doesn't mean that if a woman is attracted to you, that she's going to stay around. But you will drastically improve your dating life because you'll become more dynamic. You see this dichotomy across a lot of different domains, right? So, for example, there's a book called Compelling People that's all about charisma and how you can be a lot more charismatic. And they have a similar dichotomy, which is charisma is essentially the blend of strength and warmth. So, if you look at someone like The Rock, why is The Rock charismatic? Because he's a big burly dude, very strong, so he conveys a lot of strength. He's very competent, which is also a strength. On the strength side of the spectrum, but he's also always joking and smiling, which is the warmth, right? So the combination of strength and warmth creates charisma, right? I do it in these lives. I'll answer questions. I'll be stern, very like competent, focused. But if someone needs me to hold space, I'll hold space. At the end, I joke. So we're merging like the strength plus warmth, and that formula is going to create charisma. Same thing with Barack Obama. Absolutely. So when people are like, "You're born charismatic," it's like there's truth to that, but you can also improve greatly in that department if you just understand what the underlying mechanisms. For sure.
Very true.
We kind of went all over the place there, but I appreciate
you
getting me going.
Good. I feel like there's a laundry list of I on my notes here. I have a bunch of spark and safety elements, but I mean the truth is, you don't need all of them to win, right? You just need a handful that you can execute confidently.
That's it.
And then it just becomes who you are.
That's it.
With the right skills, you're just gonna push the wrong ones away and the right ones towards you. But you do have to have them. But you have to have both in some aspects. You just gotta figure out which ones.
Yeah, like if you're not someone who is funny and sense of humor is on the side of spark, then it's like the goal is not for you to be funny. The goal is for you to find. If you look at the list, I need to make like an exhaustive list. I would like to see your list to see if we can compare notes. Like if you came up with certain things I haven't come up with, but if you look at a list of like spark traits and safety traits, it's like, okay, what do I naturally just have? And what can I lean into a bit more? Because that's really what it's going to be about. You probably already have the traits. You're not displaying them in any way because, again, you're trying to play things a bit too safe. So
there's a lot of self-muting that has to kind of be worked through that blockage.
Man. It's the self-editing. It's the self-editing that crushes guys. I tell them I'm like, bro, do you understand? You come from generation after generation after generation after generation after generation after generation of men who reproduced. Of men who reproduced. What are the odds you're the guy who just can't do it? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense. They're like it's just in your genetic expression. You're just not. You're too afraid to put yourself out there because you have like this fear. You talk to a lot of guys. Like I know a lot of women in the chat. Y'all like, oh, men don't approach us. Agree, right? But when you ask guys why they don't, there's always like this Nightmare on Elm Street level nightmare they think is going to happen, right? They're thinking that if they go to a woman and say hello, she's going to throw her drink in their face and slap them. I'm like, bro, you don't know. That's one that's never happened to you. That's the first thing. And two, you don't even know anyone that's ever happened to. Like the amount of guys who are like,
Right.
well, I don't want to say hello because then I'll also get
Right.
like SA, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get falsely accused. And somebody said that's incels. Yeah, that's mostly incels. But other guys as well, right? Like there's guys who actually are good with women who are still terrified of approaching because they just, I
Right.
mean, they maybe are too chronically online and hearing horror stories.
Right. And I think it's just not. I think it's like a failure of courage, because the truth is the hard truth. You know, as you know, I used to go out and ask strangers to play Uno. That's how I got into approaching myself.
Right,
I'm I'm kind of bold socially, but the truth is that anxiety, that fear, it never actually goes away.
right,
It's always there, and that's a normal part of being a human being
right,
because we're social creatures. I'm a man of God, but I also love looking into evolution and understanding it. You know, my understanding is human beings are social creatures, and the
right,
reason we have that anxiety is because um, being ostracized from social circles was practically a death sentence before we had technology and medicine and literature, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just one of those survival mechanisms, similar to like spark and safety,
right,
that we have. It's just a part of you, but you have to choose to follow through and put yourself out there and take
right.
risks and be bold. That fear is never going to go away. But courage isn't an absence of fear, it is the acknowledging its existence and doing things anyways.
Right. My coach always describes it as being able to hold tension.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that's like hard or gives you anxiety, right? You can feel it somatically. It's like there's tension. So when you look at the idea of like when you come with the idea of approaching a woman, like that first somatic sensation that you feel in your body is like tension. And the more you do
Yeah.
hard things, the more you do scary things, you increase your capacity to hold the tension. The tension will always be there, but your capacity
Mm-hmm.
increases, right? So that's why, I encourage men to do things like this because once you can hold tension in one domain, you often can hold it in another. It
Yeah.
crosses it crosses domains. So helping them in this area of life is helping them be able to handle tension in other areas of life as well, which then just
Mm-hmm.
improves their life holistically. You know, they think like the guys come here, they think they're about to get laid, they think that they're about to get in relationships, and those things
Yeah.
do happen. But what's really happening is you're just becoming a better man in the process, right?
Right. It's a self mastery piece,
Right,
you know.
right,
I usually compared it to when I played like football or rugby. There's always this tension, this anxiety right up before the kickoff, especially the first match of the season. And usually, I think that's just normal when you know there's actual physical confrontation coming.
yeah,
And I found that as soon as like the first kickoff and the first you get the first hit out under your belt, the anxiety goes away.
mm-hmm,
Once it's done, you feel better. And I found that like socializing and in dating, it's kind of the same thing. Or like
hundred
when it
percent,
comes to approaching, it's kind of the same thing. You
yeah,
you get those butterflies, you get that anxiety, but once you actually do it, it goes away, and then you kind of start building momentum and getting into that flow state afterwards. The first one is always just going to be the hardest, but
right.
they have to choose to do the first one.
That's it. That's it. 100%. So, and that's why, like, I think that also, just to bring this home, um, I'm still trying to weigh how important it is to work on different pre selection metrics
Mm-hmm.
before you actually get out there. I don't think it's necessary to do it before you get out there, but you should be doing it in concert because I can tell you, as someone who was a bit heavier, who then like leaned out, as you did as well, socially, there is a bit like there's a certain amount of cognitive bandwidth you have when you're socializing, right? If you're overweight or you have any kind of like shame or self-conscious about how you are perceived in any way, a bit of your bandwidth is taken up by that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So once you make those improvements, you clear that bandwidth, and then you get to access more of like your energy genius. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's like there is value in like making those type of improvements. Instead of telling a guy who hasn't really optimized anything about his physicality to just go out there and just start talking to people. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like there are steps to it. There are things that are important that you need to do. Like, you've made a video about it before. I think that's actually what made me find your page. You called it like the low hanging fruits, like addressing the low hanging fruits, whether it's like your weight, how you dress, how you carry yourself.
Right.
Those are things you need to handle because they're in your control. And handling those would significantly improve a lot of people's dating lives if they made the time and effort to actually deal with them.
Right. Well, yeah, man. Well, I appreciate the question, big dog. I'm going to move on. We got a line building up.
Yeah. Good.
Appreciate you, Danny.
Glad the queue's building up.
Absolutely, brother. Till next time, man.
Don't be afraid to put a timer on me.
We do need the timers to be ready, though. All right, Pierre, what's going on?
What's up, man? How are you doing?
Good. What's going on? You got an update for me?
I'm doing. Why are people laughing already?
Cuz, man, you got the updates. What's going on?
First of all, I just finished eating. So, no, I just finished cooking. I'm eating right now. And I just want to thank you for your advice. You really give good advice, and it's people might not realize, but it really does work. So I had a very good conversation. I'm like very happy this evening. I'm probably gonna sleep very well, because I had a very productive conversation tonight.
Yeah.
And so while I was making dinner, so the point is I followed your advice in like establishing like being clear about your intentions towards somebody,
Right.
because so that you don't have to guess, but you tell them what you really what you want from them. So I did this evening, and it worked out perfectly fine. She actually was in a party, but she stepped out to talk to me, and yeah, I told her how I feel. So yeah, so that's the updates,
Okay, nice. You still making progress.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
man.
We
Love
have
it.
we plan to talk on Tuesday, and then our run is still maintained. So yeah.
All right, sounds good, man. Well, keep it
Yeah,
going.
absolutely.
Keep putting shots up. Keep me posted on how things continue
Yes,
to
and
progress.
I really I'm having a very good feeling about it, because this is usually how I like to be with somebody, to see them, to interact with them, and to see things fall into places. So
Okay.
yeah, so thank you. I'll from now on, I'm gonna come back after after this one. I'm gonna come back after like a run and stuff. I'll let you know how it goes.
Sounds good, brother. I'll be waiting for it. All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Chief. You take care.
Yeah.
All right, Neil, what's going on, man?
Hey, bro.
What's
Hope
up?
everything's going well. I've been following you for quite a while now, and your advice is like amazing. It's been definitely working. So,
Nice.
long story short, I just met someone recently. Yesterday was date number 4. So, date number 5 has been already scheduled. So basically, met this person. She shows up, she texts everything, and just the energy's always there. The problem that I have is I guess my background. I've always been in relationships where people text me quickly, and I get the communication just pretty quickly in normal life. So now I meet somebody who texts me like once every 5 hours, once every sometimes once a day, twice a day, sometimes once every 24 hours. Obviously, yes, she's a nurse, so she
Okay.
works overnight shifts. But the thing is, when she does show up, the energy's there. And obviously, like, she's been on, we're going on date five now. So, like, obviously there is something, but then the problem is, like, the problem isn't like the inconsistent texting. It's just like, when you know that, okay, she is free, she can text back, and then you don't get a text back in like 4 or 5 hours. And then that's where the whole uncertainty comes to. It's like, is there actually something? Is she actually playing? Is she playing games? Or like, and then there's been a few times where obviously this isn't intentional. Like, I pulled back because I was busy or whatnot, and she obviously noticed it, and she called me like, hey, like, I'm a little upset that you're not talking to me properly. But then when it's like, when it's my turn, I have to wait like 5-6 hours for texting. But that's kind of like, I don't know how to deal with that. I guess.
Okay, so she's a nurse, so she's actually legitimately busy, right? And y'all been on 4 or 5 dates, you said?
Yes, and like, yeah, and one thing, like, because after date five, we're both traveling for our vacations, and yes, she did say like, hey, you know what, I'm actually going to miss you, which is like obviously a good sign. But then it's like the whole texting kind of thing just gets to my head, I guess.
Okay. How was the energy in person?
Oh, it's amazing. Like, it's gradually improved after, and the thing is, I do give her the benefit of the doubt because all of the dates, she lives really far from me, so every date it's like a minimum half an hour or 2 45 minutes whenever she does come. So, and then obviously, like, she doesn't rush anything or anything. So energy's been great, and
So she
yeah.
drives. She drives to you. She's doing most of the driving.
She does far. So my distance, like, for example, if you go anywhere, for me it'll be like a 25 minute drive. For her, it'll be at least a minimum 40 minute drive because she lives more of the rural countryside
Okay.
of our city. So,
Okay. How'd y'all meet?
Hinge.
Hinge. And how old are you two?
I am 27. She is 25.
Okay. All right. You want to judge by the energy in person. Energy in
Okay.
person is going to be more telling than like the whole texting outside. Like if you weren't getting texts back at all, and she was going like days without responding, that would be more concerning to me. But considering that she's a nurse and that you have a few hours in between texting, it's not that big of a deal. What I do want to point at is you said that if she texts you and you don't respond back quickly, she has a problem with it.
Like, not the timing. Like, for example, I guess like one time, like when I booked, when we like made the reservation for a date four, she's like, hey, she replied like it was like a late reply, so I'm like, hey, you know what? It's morning. I'm not gonna give her too much energy this hour. So I just gave her like one message, and she replied. I just liked the message, and then an hour later, she's like, I'm a little salty that you liked my message, you didn't reply back to me. So it's like, or second scenario was she came back from like a really rough shift. I'm like, it's okay, you got this kind of a thing. And she's like, oh, I was expecting you to say more. I had a really bad shift. So it's like those two scenarios kind of happened.
Okay, those aren't really that big of a deal. They don't. Those scenarios don't really concern me. That's just kind of dealing with women in general, right? Like she wanted a bit of safety. She
That's
wanted.
the thing. Like, right from Denver, like for every other past relationship I've been on, it's like the texts have come quick, but it's like this person, it's like complete opposite. Obviously, that's the thing. It's like in person, it's a complete different vibe. It's like even yesterday, date four was initiated by her, not by me.
Okay.
So it's like, you know what I mean. So that's kind of like I wanna give her the benefit of the doubt, but then the texting thing, I guess maybe because I'm just used to it. So that's why this person comes along. It's a completely different mindset. So that's why I just wanted to know, like, does it really matter? Like, should I just wait it out, I guess?
Yeah, this doesn't. It's not really a concerning situation. I get why you feel this way. You may have like a bit of an anxious lean in terms of the attachment style. So you may be thinking like, okay, reading into it, like this is representation of like how she feels about you or something. The more important signal is going to be how she is in person. Even her being bothered by you not responding to her quickly enough, or I mean, like liking the message, not responding, and not being there for her when she felt like she had a rough day is good.
Yeah. So it's just I'm just trying to, I guess, slowly get used to. Obviously, I've improved. Like, I'm not that anxious as I once was, because obviously I'm used to her schedule now. But it's like
Hmm.
sometimes it's like, you just get into your head like, okay, like, it's more of like when if I know she's free and she's not texting, that's when it's obviously when she's at work, she doesn't text. It's obviously I know she's at work, right? Like, it's all good, but it's more of when I know, okay, she's free, and then I have to wait for her text. That's when it kind of like, okay, is something wrong, or am I just overthinking, I guess.
Yeah, just overthinking, and it's like it's good to catch yourself during those moments, right? Where it's like just remind yourself that okay, so anxious people, just to oversimplify things, whenever they get activated, they think more from their heart, but when they get activated, they shut off their mind. And avoidant
Okay.
people are thinking more from their mind, but when they get activated, they shut off their heart, right? So if you're anxious, you have to like tap into your logical brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Purpre, I need you to stop with the comments because you're about to get blocked because you're about to get annoying. So that's enough. So yes, you should just remind yourself that there's no evidence suggesting that there's anything wrong here. On top of that, y'all are just dating. Like there's no kind of exclusivity here. There's no kind of relationship here, right?
Yeah.
So she doesn't owe you anything. Like even if she was in her free time, like dating somebody else, right? Which we should assume that's the
Of
case.
course.
You met her on Hinge. I promise you, she's talking to somebody,
Yeah.
right? That shouldn't be any of your concern, right?
Of course.
Like she's investing time into you, right? This is a nurse. She ain't got that much time to date, and she's driving 40 minutes to spend time with you, and initiating some of the dates. So those are way more important signals than she hasn't responded in 4 hours.
Okay. No, that definitely makes sense.
Okay.
No, thank you, though. Appreciate it.
All right, but keep doing what you're doing, brother. You feel like you're gonna make things kind of exclusive anytime soon? How you feeling
So
about it?
basically, after date five, so basically, we weren't supposed to do date five this quick. Actually, what happened was I was assuming that she's working, so and I leave for my vacation on Friday, and then yesterday she told me that, oh, I'm not working until the day you leave. I didn't ask that. She just told me this for my schedule. Then that's how I'm like, hey, you know what? Before we leave, before we both get busy, let's just meet one more time. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm down to meet. So yeah, so that's just so far. I'll just say this: like met. I was on a grind. I've been grinding for like a year or two, so I kind of avoided the dating life. But then I don't know. It's like, especially like when I first met her, when I first started talking to her, I'm like, okay, this. In my mind, I was like, okay, this woman, she's not really texting me much. I just went to the first date with no expectation, but I'll be honest with you, first date, it was literally a basic coffee date, but I'm just like, I met her, I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, whoa, this is like a whole different feeling. And then second date, I'm like, hey, let's meet again. And it was her who said, hey, I think we should escalate this to a more higher level, like, instead of just doing basic coffee dates. So then that's how this whole thing started. So yeah.
Nice. All right, so you like her,
Yeah.
my man.
God's grace, let's see.
There we go. All right, bro. Well, definitely keep me posted on how things go. All right.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
What? I'm curious now. You said my content helps you. What part of my content helps you the most?
A lot of it was definitely the anxious attachment, like and especially a lot of it's like how you always talk about like just being a man. There's so many like there's so many different things that you should be doing, like elevating your finances, elevating your fitness, and especially I'm 1 week left of finishing my 75 hard challenge, and she knows that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she's always like, hey, I know you can't do this, I know you can't. And she's like kind of excited. She's showing excitement, like that this guy's actually working on himself. So it's like I wasn't supposed to meet her, but I borrowed my friend for like, hey, try it out, and I guess it's working out so far. So yeah.
My man. Yeah, definitely keep me posted, bro. But I feel good about this one. All right.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Chief. You take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. You had me worried when you said she was a nurse. I was a little bit concerned, but it seems like everything's working out for good old Neil. Huh? Everything's working out for good old Neil. Rosie, you know why. What are you asking questions for? You know why, Rosie. You know what's going on around here. Oh my guy at? Buddy with the bucket hat. You still wanted to request? My boy who asked about approaching at the bar. I don't, please enlighten me. Come on. What are we talking? We've had the nurse conversation so many times in this live. I don't want to rehash old shit. What are we doing that for? We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it a bit later. Maybe in the Mark After Dark segment. Okay. Who else do we got up here requesting? Okay, until we get another caller, I guess we'll talk about it. So, again, if you have a question, have a problem pertaining to dating and relationships, hit the button at the bottom of the screen with the blue and pink person. I'll bring you up. We'll talk about your issue. You can also drop your question in the chat. I'll answer it there. See, I wanted to talk about, but Tay wanted to come up, so I guess we got to put a pin in it. Tay, what's going on?
Hey.
How you doing?
My question, I guess, is recently I've had like a lot of guys in the past come up in my life, and they've kind of just been entertaining me for a little bit, and then they go MIA.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, like, if I'm going back into the dating space, like, how should I get around that? Or, like, just should I expect someone to talk to me every day? Like, is that too much? Or
So,
I don't know if my question makes sense, but
do you have, is Elmo over there? Is Elmo playing in the background?
I do have kids.
You're
My
good.
son watches
You're
this
good. It's
annoying
not.
loud show.
It's just my ADHD was going to hyperfixate on that, so I got conclusion. Okay, so you're saying that you want people, the guys who you date, to like text you somewhat frequently. Is that the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your expectation?
Honestly, I'm not looking for like a good morning every day. Like, I feel like I know guys can sometimes just be bored, and I don't want them to just do it out of like, oh, I have to text her good morning.
Mm-hmm.
But even if a man is like, hey, I'm busy, but thinking about you or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do you know much about like attachment styles?
Yeah, I do.
What? Why you say it like that?
Because I was hoping you were going to ask, like, what's yours or something.
What's yours? What's yours, Tay? What are you?
I can kind of say I'm more on the anxious attachment.
So like that's going to be the issue here for you, right? Because it's not so much that you want to talk to the person. It's you, like, people who are anxiously attached do what is called co-regulating, right? So the problem with people who are anxiously attached is whenever they become dysregulated or they feel that anxiety, they make it the other person's responsibility, right? It's like, okay, I feel this way, now you deal with it, right? That's just too much for anyone. It's important it's good to have the capacity for co-regulation, right? But that can't be the only way that you make yourself feel better, okay? You should be able to do it independently, like avoidant people. They do it independently, but they don't do co-regulation at all, right? So you want to have the capacity for both. So what's happening here is, it's not that you want to talk to the person, it's that you are using them texting you as a indicator that they still feel strongly about you or still like you or still in the connection, right? So in other words, when they don't text you frequently, you become dysregulated. So now you want to make them talk to you more so that you feel better in your body. So them texting you frequently is your way of just feeling at ease in the connection, right? But having that need can push people away, especially people who don't naturally want to do that, and it can set up unnecessary friction. So like maybe you tell someone that you would like them to test you more. They're not naturally like that, but they like you so much they're willing to make that shift. Then maybe they drop the ball because again they're not naturally like that. Now you're in a fight with them because you're mad that they're not doing the thing they agreed to do. You see what I'm saying? So it creates unnecessary friction when the core problem is you have not learned how to regulate yourself without relying on another person to do it on your behalf.
I guess I have two questions with that then. Would you say, one, I'm not from that, would I not be ready to date? And two, should I just take action from a man? Like, even though he
Yes.
doesn't text me every day? Or
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
The same
Okay.
caller, the guy who came in, he's you, just a man, right? So he had like the same exact problem, and he's looking at it the same way that you're looking at it, right? And again, you want to when anxious people are dysregulated, they kind of think from their heart, but they turn off their like logical mind, right? So the solution would be to access it. So you ask yourself the question: is there any signs to suggest that this person isn't really in this or has changed their mind or anything, right? If someone's showing up and God's like constantly trying to see you, constantly trying to date you, right? Through his behavior, there's congruence between, this is the ultimate thing you want to look for. Consistency of behavior over time, but also congruence between thought, word and deed. So like words match the actions, actions match the words. Right. If you're seeing that, that's the most important thing. Not how frequently they test you. Because people are different. Some people don't, like I have ADHD, I can love talking to you. But I might just not get there immediately. That don't mean I'm going days. Like you also gotta like factor in like, okay, what's reasonable as well, right? So someone going days without talking to you, there's no excuse for that. But somebody not checking in every hour or every 2 hours, right? Maybe going 3 hours, 4 hours to respond to you. Not that that's their consistent frequency, but just every once in a while there's some sort of delay. I think that's just normal.
Makes sense.
So it's going to be like just reminding yourself of that. It's okay to feel that way, right? Because so there's two things, okay? When you can learn to regulate yourself, and you can just Google different somatic exercises to regulate yourself. One exercise I've told people in the chat before is like putting one hand under your one armpit, other hand on your shoulder. This simulates a hug, and this can calm you down, right? You can do those things to kind of like ease that anxiety, or go for a walk. I know for me, taking a nap works wonders, right? But ultimately, the real way that you heal your nervous system in this way is to not feel the need to get rid of those bad feelings. Is to just be okay with them, not feel like something is wrong, right? So okay, you build the capacity to handle those bad feelings and don't let them control your behavior. Because for anxious people, the worst thing you can do is act from that place. Meaning, when you feel that way inside, it is best not to call, text, or take any action or believe any thoughts in that state, because everything is coming from that state. And that state is lying to you. Okay?
No. Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
No problem, love. Best of luck to you, okay? All right. Okay, Toy, what's going on? Toy, are you there? Because you're muted. Going once. Going twice. So, Sia.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, love. What can I do for you?
I just wanted to have some open dialogue. So I am really used to healthy relationships, and I've never been put in a situation where I felt like I had to jump out of character.
Okay.
And my most recent relationship, oh my gosh, it was such a mess. I was just in a situation with a man who was dealing with multiple women.
Okay.
And I never had that experience. I never knew that loyalty was such a privilege. And, you know, we spent years texting and arguing about why we're not together, even though we're not seeing each other face to face and he's with these other women. And recently I just had to cut him off and realize that even if we were to get back together, it's just too much baggage. But I wanted to just ask your opinion on what men think of the woman that they know they're doing wrong, who's crashing out, calling 1,000 times. Do they just perceive that woman as immature and dependent, or do they actually know what they're doing and look at her like, oh dang, like, you know what, she really loved me and like I did her wrong? Because I feel like I've jumped out of character with this man, and when I'm healing, I don't care enough to reach out to him to ask, but I genuinely wonder what my perception must be after, you know, being that woman that was calling so many times.
Okay. So this is not someone that you're actively dealing with.
No.
Okay.
But the way that we have communicated, even though we haven't seen each other in person, you could say we were dealing with each other. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, he's over there with other women, but we're arguing every day about why we're not together. But it came to a point where, you know, the argument got messy and I found myself calling him so many times. I mean, I was going insane. And if I wanted to keep going, I could, but I just had to cut the whole situation off. And now that I'm healing with no contact, I don't know. I'm like, what does a man think of the woman that, you know, is crashing out and he knows he's doing wrong? Does he just see that woman as immature and dependent on him, or does he know what he's doing?
It depends. What did y'all break up for, and how long were y'all together?
So we were together for like 4.5 years, and we broke up because he was dealing with other women, and I just couldn't take it. So.
Okay. So he was cheating on you during the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you stay after him cheating on you?
I did.
Okay. All right. Okay. And how did y'all meet?
How'd I meet the devil? In college.
Okay, so I mean, it depends, love. Like, just like women, men aren't a monolith, right? So there are some men who are very intentional about the things they do. They're manipulating you with intent, right? There are some who manipulate you unconsciously. They don't know they're doing it, but you know, they're also manipulative. So it just depends. There are guys who will be in this situation and it will be very validating to them that a woman such as yourself is stuck on them and wanting to blow their phone up and can't seem to let them go, you know. And there are other men who will probably perceive this to be annoying. It depends on the man you're dealing with. But I would advise that, you know, I know no contact people are like, no contact is you don't talk to the person. I would add to that. No contact should also mean let's not make psychological contact. Meaning
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about you a bunch.
It's hard.
I'm not
You
talking
know how
about
hard it
you.
is to move on when you're not a hoe? No shit, I'ma crash out.
I hear you, but it's like even talking about, like I had to tell someone earlier in the earlier live, right? Like she kept talking about her situation. And she was 9 months removed from it. You know, someone did her really dirty.
Right.
Really dirty. And she was asking me questions and then she like kept talking about it. And I was like, you do know you talking about this a lot is keeping it alive. Like people were telling her like, oh, you should go to therapy. And I'm like, look, I'm all for therapy. But I think in this situation, I don't think it's going to help much because the therapist is going to need to hear the story again. So it's like
Right.
you keep rehashing this story keeps you in that victim mode. It's best to just eliminate anything that can remind you of that person.
I think
And
for me, it's like because I've never been put in that situation where, you know, I had to step out of my true character, I'm like mad at myself. Like it's not even him and oh, but did he care? It's more so, dang, like does he look at me like I'm some weak, insecure woman, or like did he know what he was doing? Does he understand that dang, that was love and I just messed with her head? Or does he just perceive me as dang, she calling me again? You know what I'm saying? Like
So
I
what
feel
I
like
would
my gangster has been touched.
I hear you, but that's my question to you is why does it matter how he perceives you?
Yeah. I guess it does come down to how he perceives me.
Man, why does it matter? If this is a stranger on the street, you wouldn't care. But why do you care that he perceives you that way?
Yeah, I guess it's just you know, yeah, I guess I gotta stop caring about what he think. But it's not about what he think. It's like it's me too. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, dang, I was dumb.
No, if it was just, I'm sure that's a part of it. But if it was just that, you would just think about like I was dumb, right? That's not what you're asking. That's not even what you asked me right here. You didn't say anything about your behavior here. Your whole question was, what does he think? That was your
Yeah.
whole question. So you're still like trying to think about, you're trying to mind read him because you still made him psychologically significant. So you have to reduce the psychological weight that he holds. And the only way to do that is to, start to move on from the situation by way of removing any kind of reminders of him. That means text change, that means pictures, that means, you know, looking at his social media if you still follow him, right? Blocking on everything. Remove that person's presence immediately. And, grieve the connection if you have to grieve the connection, right? And then that's when you start healing. But you keep replaying this and trying to fit, because a lot of people, the question why is very dangerous. People think that getting this closure is important. They don't really want closure. You don't really want a question. You don't want an answer to this question that you asked me. You want to keep asking questions because the last tie that you have to him is trying to figure him out. Trying to figure him out keeps you connected, keeps you tethered. And if you were to stop trying to figure him out,
That is a good one. That is a good one.
right?
Trying to figure that man out is like a disease.
Right. So as long as you continue to try to figure him out, you're still kind of connected to him. So you
All
just
right,
have to.
well, thanks. I enjoy the open dialogue. Have a good one.
No problem, love. You take care. All right. Who else we got? What's going on, boss man?
Hello, how you doing today? My
Good,
name is
good.
Daniel.
What's up, Daniel? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. I just got a question. So my main question is what is your advice to a man who's seeking to build relationships while being emotional? Because I see a lot of rhetoric online saying that the more you try to be vulnerable, you lose your people lose respect for you, etc. How can you build a relationship while still being an emotional man? Because I feel emotion is very intense. Do I have a control over it? It's something I do struggle with and I'm very insecure about. So I just wanted to know what's your advice on that?
Okay. When you say emotional, what do you mean? What specific behaviors are you engaging in?
Behaviors. Well, it's nothing lashing out or nothing like that. I wouldn't say I'd be lashing out. It's nothing
Okay.
like that. It's more so just internally. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
A lot of anxiety, I'd say. Yeah.
What problem is this creating for you?
Sometimes it really makes it hard to speak up, to be honest, and pull that guard down. Oftentimes I find myself kind of one foot in, one foot out.
Okay.
Especially when I deal with people. Yeah.
So you're emotional, but you don't talk about your emotions.
Nah. Because I don't know if I could, Because that's all I hear online, especially being a young man myself. It's damn, I don't know what to do.
Okay, so you're basically saying I feel a lot of emotions, but because I feel the rhetoric online is suggesting that men should be emotionless, you kind of shut down within the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
And what problem has that created? Has that hurt past relationships you've been in? Have women said that you seem kind of closed off and inaccessible?
Yeah, I've heard that a lot, and then either if it's not that, I just go really understood. Like I become like I feel misunderstood in that relationship. So
Okay, so can you give me an example of like you being an emotional experience in a relationship and you just didn't share it?
all right, give me a second. Let me think.
Mhm.
Do I have to get like real specific with it, or like?
You can be a hypothetical as long as it's like it's grounded, like it's a realistic situation. Because I need to know exactly like how it's playing out in your situation.
Okay, like for example, like let's say that um all right, let's say like I'm in a talking stage or something like that, right?
Right.
Etc. And like there's like a certain expectation I'm expecting from this person. Like maybe the communication, like we haven't been communicating that on the same we said we were going to. Like sometimes I might not even bring that up, you know. Like I might just like I might resort to just letting it flow, even though that like, I know that I want to like invest in this person brutally and honestly. I
Yeah.
might not even say nothing, you know.
Okay.
Things like that.
Okay. So you're in a talking stage with somebody, and y'all aren't talking as much as you would like to,
Yeah.
and you've already verbally expressed an expectation for communication in this situation.
Yeah.
Okay. And they agreed, but then they didn't change their behavior,
Yeah.
and that causes you to feel what emotion?
It makes me feel upset a little less than, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it definitely makes me anxious because now I'm questioning what's going on. You
Okay.
know?
Okay. I get you. Do you know much about attachment styles?
You know, I've heard about them. I don't really know what to classify myself as because
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be on both sides.
So is anxiety something that you felt a lot in your previous relationships?
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of your emotional experiences has been like you mistrusting the person or not knowing where they stand, right? Like you text somebody and then they take hours to text back, but then when you spend time with them, they're always on their phones. Then you start worrying, like thinking about that or feeling insecure. That's been a lot of your emotional experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you're anxiously attached, right? So people who are anxiously attached, they have a core fear driving them, and that is a fear of abandonment, right? So they're afraid of people leaving them because beneath that fear is a fear of being alone. Okay. So whenever this causes them to be hyper vigilant, hyper vigilant means that you are very perceptive of every kind of micro behavior. You probably are hyper aware when there's a shift, right?
Yeah.
Like you pick your pattern recognition, you pick up on like, okay, you're doing something differently. Normally it takes you like 10 minutes to test back, but it's taking you 2 hours to test back. What's going on?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And like there's degrees of this too. Like some people are so anxious, like your lady tell you she's going to Target, you know Target 15 minutes away. So it's like, okay, it's a 15-minute drive. She said she was getting this. That takes 10 minutes. And it's a 15-minute drive back. It should be 40 minutes, but it's been an hour. Why is she how do we account for the rest of the time? Right? Like they're doing all that mental math and it's like it's making them a nervous wreck. So
Yeah.
so are you single right now?
Right now, I'm talking to somebody.
Okay, nice, nice. So the problem is not your emotions.
Mm.
Okay, problem is the attachment style. It is the behaviors that it's you have anxious attachment, but then on top of that, you're mixing that with this performative masculinity. So it's like you're feeling the anxious attachment, and normally when people feel that anxiety, they like kind of vomit it out. You're not vomiting it out because you've been told you're not supposed to, so then you just kind of shut down within the connection. It's interesting.
Right.
So, but the real core of it is still going to be the anxious attachment, right? So, the best advice given to people who are anxiously attached, that I've ever come across, is to pretend like you will never find somebody else. Pretend like you'll never be in a relationship. You will, but just pretend like you won't. Okay? How can you build a life to where you can still be happy in that situation? And then whatever the answer to that question is, go do that. Because what anxious people have a tendency to do is they make the person they're romantically involved with their entire world. And when that person leaves, their world leaves.
Yeah.
So they take breakups very hard because that's everything. That person was everything and they left, right? So when you take the advice that I just gave you and you start to pretend like you'll never find somebody, and you instead make friends, and you engage in hobbies, and you have things that you give your time and energy to, right? You build your own little kingdom. In doing so, you don't put so much pressure on the romantic connection. In other words, you don't make this person your world. And paradoxically, that helps you sustain the connection, because the reason why a lot of people who are anxiously attached, the reason why their relationships end a lot of the time is because they put so much pressure on the other person. That person can feel that you're making them your world. Right?
Right.
And that's just too much pressure for anyone. You give them too much responsibility. You make them the sole proprietor of all of your needs, right? And you can't do that. So you follow that advice, it handles the situation that you're having, right? Now, back to the masculine element. You were basically, when you feel a certain way, you feel like people are crossing your boundaries and things like that, you can vocalize your concern. You don't have to do it, you don't have to emote it. You don't have to emotionally dump. You can vocalize things, right? Like, you can have a conversation about why, we had a conversation about, us talking. And, well, you won't even really be in that situation anymore. Because if you do what I just said about the anxious attachment, you won't even have the desire to, you won't feel so strongly about people talking to you so frequently.
Right.
Because anxiously attached people want frequent communication, not because they want to talk to the person so much, but because they're using the frequent text messaging as a sign, a symbolic representation that person still feels strongly about them, is still thinking about them, and is still in the connection. Because they don't trust it, so they need evidence. They constantly need more and more and more evidence. And texting frequently becomes evidence. But again, you follow the advice that I gave you, you won't need as much evidence.
Right. Because, that's kind of the situation I'm in right now with the person I'm talking to. Like,
right.
It's a past relationship, but, like, we reconnected and we've been talking. So it's like, whenever we in person, it's like, yo, this feels great. You feel great. We feel great. But it's like, I'm over here, like, constantly analyzing every little thing, like, whether it's through text or when we're not together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking, I'm watching. So it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, that's it. This is going to be it takes work, but you can only heal this within. You can only heal attachment wounds within, like, romantic connections, right? Like, people get single and they're like, I'm healing. It's like, not your attachment. That's not healing, because you got to be in a situation to get triggered to work on your triggers. So this is now the gym. Your connection with this woman is like the arena. It's the training grounds for you to kind of work on this aspect of yourself, so that you can, be more at peace and not so destabilized, when somebody doesn't message you back or show up in the way that you want them to show up. Okay, so that's going to be the core of your issue, my man. That kind of solves everything that you came and talked about. Yeah, any questions about any of that?
Thank you. I appreciate it, for real. Thank you.
No problem, brother. Keep me posted on how it goes, all right?
All right.
All right, take care, man. All right. Stacy, what's going on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hi there.
Oh, hi. Okay. I'm a little nervous to be here, but so kind of the situation I'm in, I recently met someone, and they're like not in my town. We live in the same state, but kind of like on opposite sides.
Okay.
There's several like 5 hours or so between us. And so I'm trying to figure out how to like establish the connection. So the person, like, he constantly, like, there's constant communication, but it's seeming very like of course it's gonna be surface, but it's also seeming like it's just lacking substance. Like, how are you? How's your day? That's kind of it. And then I'm asking questions to kind of like get to know him, and he always just asks them back.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it's deepening. We've had one phone call, and I'm like, he's confirmed, I guess. Yeah, he's confirmed that we're looking for the same thing.
Okay.
But I'm not sure where to go from here, because I don't want to have this create this false sense of connection just because we are in constant communication, because there isn't really anything there. I guess at this point, and granted, it hasn't been that long, but I think for me, like, I eventually will, even though he's a great guy, like I like him, everything I've heard so far.
Right.
But I feel like I will lose attention if it's just surface level.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to suggest anything that's seeming like I'm doing too much, and of course I don't want to be the one that's seeming like I'm like pursuing.
Okay.
But should I do that? I don't know.
Okay. What's the main question here?
The main question is, we've been talking for maybe like a week and a half. Haven't met in person. Talk every day, but it's seeming very surface level.
Okay.
So what should I do? Should I propose? Hey, let's put something on the calendar to meet. Even though it's going to be a bit of a distance. Should I just say, hey, this is seeming too surface level? Maybe we should just kind of step back. Like, I don't know.
How did y'all meet?
I met on a dating app.
Okay. And how far apart are y'all?
I'd say probably 4 hours.
Okay. Did y'all meet on Hinge?
No.
Okay.
It's called Duet.
That's like they don't default to people close to you, right?
I don't think so. I think it's a smaller app, so I think it just they have a smaller,
Yeah.
pool.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, and also, I wanted to add this piece. He's of a different ethnicity, and I've never talked to someone of his background, and I think, or at least not in depth.
What is he? What is he?
He's white.
All right, making snowmen. All right.
Well, I don't know.
I heard making snow angels. Okay, I got you.
All right. But it's the same thing for him. Like, he's maybe gone out on a date or two with someone that's black or of a different ethnicity, but not like a full-on relationship. And prior to him, I've dated people who are from where I'm from. I'm African or black, so that it's very different.
Right. How old are you two?
I'm 28.
Okay. How old is he?
32.
Okay. You say you talk every day. Is that a mixture? Chelsea's hilarious. Is that a mixture between phone calls and text?
It is texting mostly. There's only been one phone call. He's asked me if I wanted to FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I told him, I'm not ready. And I guess I was operating out of a place of, typically, if I meet someone, we, I don't know, sometimes people are weird with FaceTime when they want to FaceTime right away. But I guess in this case, since it is distance, like, yeah, FaceTime would make sense.
Right.
But we haven't had a FaceTime. We've had one phone call and texting every day.
Okay. So was the phone call conversation more engaging than the text conversation?
Yeah, of course. Like, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yes, I'd say yes.
By like a significant margin, or are they pretty close?
Say that again.
By a significant margin, or are they just pretty close?
No, I think at that time, because it was it was our first time having a conversation, it was, more engaging. It was like a good bit more engaging.
Okay, so he was contributing more. He was asking questions and stuff like that, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And over text, he asked questions, but at this point, it's kind of like, he'll ask questions like, what are you up to? How's your day? Type of stuff. And then if I ask him like a deeper question, he'll ask it back. He'll say, how about you? And at first I was fine with the, what are you up to? Just so he can kind of understand my routine. But it's and same thing, what's your routine like? But now it's seeming like that's all it is.
Okay, but phone conversations, that's not the case.
The one phone conversation, no, that wasn't the case.
Okay.
It flowed. Yeah, it flowed.
Okay. I mean, the simple solution is just talk on the phone instead of texting.
And I asked him. Okay, so I didn't mention this part. So I said, what did I ask? I think I said I was like, oh, maybe 2 days later, I was like, oh, it was nice, having speaking with you on the phone. We should do that again sometime. And I think he was like, definitely. But then it just left it at that. And right. I'm like, I already brought that up. So I now don't want to be like, definitely, so when are you free? Or should I do that?
No, I get your point. It's like you're wanting him to kind of initiate and progress things, and you don't want to be the person who does it. Like, I understand. That makes sense.
Yeah, and at least not too much,
Yeah. I think that this is just, I don't have much faith in it because it's long distance.
You think 4 hours is, it is long distance, but you think it's like too much distance?
I don't think it's too much. It's just, you're not, I'm not really sure what's even making you want to talk to this person anymore.
Because when we talk, like, all the characteristics of a person that I like, I'm seeing it in him, and he's telling me that it is him. Hobbies, the kind of the personality, experiences in life, they align a lot.
You're making a big mistake here. The big mistake that you're making is you're factoring in compatibility before you factor chemistry. Chemistry comes first, compatibility comes next.
Say that again?
Chemistry comes first, compatibility comes next. Right? You got to see if you vibe first. After you vibe, then you factor in compatibility. When you just focus on compatibility, you end up getting partnered with somebody who just makes sense on paper. Right? So he makes sense on paper because it's like it fits into like this fantasy that you may have, or like this idealized version of who you're going to be with, and you're trying to shoehorn him into that, even though you two don't seem like y'all really vibe that much right now. And then the long distance factor just makes it even more complicated. It adds more friction. So like long distance can work if like there's a profound connection. It's like, okay, we get together so long and have so much in common and potentially so compatible that even this distance isn't going to mess this up. So you're like, we not really vibing like that, and we 4 hours apart. There needs to be some degree of compensation when you're long distance like that. Something has to compensate for the distance. Normally, what compensates for the distance is talking on the phone. And you're not enjoying that. So the one way for you to compensate for the distance is not even an enjoyable activity for you.
It's enjoyable. It was enjoyable that one time, but it's not. It hasn't reoccurred.
It has to be enjoyable,
Like
and there needs to be a willingness paired with a willingness to do it in the first place, which he doesn't. I mean, he has asked you to FaceTime and you turned him down, so you might have shot yourself in the foot with that one. But because that's technically still like a verbal conversation. I'm not telling you to end things. I'm just giving you food for thought, right? So
Yeah.
factor in that chemistry. Don't fantasy
That's a good
project.
point.
Okay, I made some content about it because I've heard no one else make the point I just made, but it is a very important distinction. So,
Yeah.
make sure you're actually checking because people normally do one of the two. They don't really do both. Like you have people
Okay.
who are just vibe people, like I like them so much, and they don't think
Yeah.
about compatibility at all.
Yeah.
And then you have other people who are more like in agenda mode, which is like maybe, a woman who just wants to get married or a man who just wants to get married, right? And then they only factor compatibility and don't factor in that chemistry at all. But you want the sequence of chemistry, then compatibility, right? So I even tell people on first dates, they want to like start asking compatibility questions on first date. I'm like, nah, vibe on the first date. The first date should be fun. First date is a chemistry test. Do we vibe? After that, all right, we know we vibe. If we vibe here, we're going to continue to vibe. See what I'm saying? Like, you're not just going to just lose the vibe. Like, if we vibe here, we're going to continue to vibe. Now the question becomes like, do we fit? Do our lives fit together, right? So, yeah.
That makes so much sense. Wow. That makes so much sense. And I think, because there's a lack of the opportunity to, and establish that chemistry. Because, it needs to either be in person or over the phone or whatever. And, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Okay. This was very helpful.
Sounds good, Stacey. Keep me posted on how things go, all right?
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem, dear. You take care.
You too.
Stacey sounded like she was at church, didn't she? I thought she was going to call me pastor eventually. Good luck to her, though. Eris, what's going on? Is it Eris or Aries?
Hi. Eris is fine.
Okay. What's going on?
Okay, I'm so nervous. I'm hoping he doesn't see that I'm live on here. He's at work right now, so.
Okay, we better make this fast.
What'd you say?
So we better make this quick.
Right, no, literally. Okay, so I've been dating this guy since, we first matched on February 11th, and then we met in person for the first time on March 7th exactly. I went and looked at my receipts real quick to give you context. Okay, but so my situation is actually long distance as well, pretty much the same amount of a drive as hers. It's like 4 hours.
Okay.
And we are actually, ours has been very fluid though, very consistent. Like I said, we've already met in person, and it's been very reciprocal as far as like our efforts go of seeing each other. So my main question is, okay, so we're in that phase of like I said, we're kind of like nearing 2 months now that we've been dating, and we did agree and have that conversation already of like, mutually being exclusive with one another. Like we're not in a relationship, but we've both committed to the idea of like, okay, we want to see where this is going to go.
Okay.
And so I've been very level-headed in this connection. My last relationship taught me a lot. I went through therapy. I did the whole thing. And I feel like this is my first, like, connection that's just been so consistent and so, like, it just feels like everything is in good faith. Like, his words match his actions.
Right.
And it's going very, very well. I'm very happy with how things are going. We're pacing ourselves very well. Any boundaries I've set, he's been super receptive and super respectful. And so my main thing is, there are times where I kind of get in my head and my past relationships kind of creep up on me. Not so much, I guess I would say past traumas where, like, I have this amazing man in front of me, but then I start to get in my head of being like, what if the mask slips? Like, is this too good to be true? Because this feels too good to be true. And I haven't allowed myself to run with those thoughts. I definitely sit with them and kind of like put myself in the corner, and I'm like, no, because he has not shown you anything else. He's been amazing, and you need to get your shit together, because you have no validity to be thinking these like what ifs, basically. So I kind of wanted your advice on how to really handle that when that comes up, because literally my sister, I live with my sister, and she told me, she was like, honestly, I really don't see this connection going bad, and if it does, it's because you're gonna ruin it. And she said, and I looked at her and I was like self-sabotage, and she was like, yes, because my patterns throughout my relationships is I've always chased the chaos, the inconsistency, because of my upbringing. My parents were very inconsistent throughout my life. And I see that someone said heal first. Trust me, I've done so much work on myself. I've made leaps and bounds. And I genuinely do feel like I am ready for this connection, but healing is not linear. And so there's going to be times where I second guess my judgment and things like that, but I sit in it, and I don't let myself react off of those anxieties, those insecurities and things. So yeah, I just wanted your opinion on dealing with that. And also, too, the second part to my question, we are reaching or breaching that phase of like, I really like you. And it's like, no, I really, really like you. And I've had to catch myself so many times to not say I love him, because I'm really trying to pace things, and I really don't want to blurt that out and just be, like, I really want to make sure that that's how I feel. I don't want to just throw those words out there. So I guess I was kind of looking for what you think is a good time frame. I mean, I don't know that you can ever really time that. I know every relationship is different, but how soon is too soon? And then also regarding the other thing that I mentioned.
Okay, so y'all matched on Hinge?
Yes.
And y'all been dating for how long?
We became exclusive shortly after we met for the first time, so March 7th, but we communicate pretty often. We send like voice audios and stuff through Instagram.
So y'all been dating for how long?
It's like a month and a half, I think that would be.
Month and a half. And you've met him in person how many times?
We've gone back and forth to each other 4 times, but there have been like consecutive days that we've seen each other. So
Okay.
I want to say total days that we've spent together, it's been like 7 in person.
Gotcha.
And we have our next 3 like meetings scheduled out already.
Okay.
In between our work schedules.
Serious. All right.
Yeah.
So month and a half, you've seen each other 4 times, but when you see each other, there's like multi-day visits.
Yes.
Okay. And how much distance are between the two of you?
It's 4 hours.
4 hours. Okay. So your first question was, well, your second question technically is, you're starting to feel like you love this person. And it's like, when should you say it?
What'd you say?
And the question is, when should you say it? When should you let them know that you feel that way?
Yeah.
I'm of the mind that you say it when you feel it, as long as you're not the person who falls in love within a week. You know what I mean?
No, definitely not.
If you're not that person. So, month and a half, do y'all like talk every day?
Yes.
You talk every day. Like,
yeah, we don't like make each other the center of our universe by any means, but just like when we can throughout we're both tattoo artists.
Okay.
So we have very busy schedules. So just throughout the day when we can step away from our clients, we'll just send like a little voice audio updating each other about our day, and we've had a lot of really, really good conversations.
Okay. All right, so it's not like multi-hour long conversations. Sometimes it may be the case, but daily it could be just a voice memo back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. How old are you two?
I'm 26, he's 28.
Okay. Do you know his relationship history?
Yeah, he's been single for a year, and before that, he was in a 4-year long relationship.
Okay. Been single for a year, was in a 4-year long relationship. Okay. It's not bad. And you say he's respected your boundaries. What's like an example of that?
Let me think of one that I said. So one of them, it wasn't so much a boundary, but it kind of was like a trauma thing. So my last relationship that I was in like 3 years ago, was very controlling and manipulative. That is the relationship that introduced me to therapy and made me kind of learn a lot about myself and my childhood traumas and things. But he was very like hyper vigilant of my emotions and like monitored me, and if I was sad for whatever reason, he kind of like internalized it with himself, and then it would kind of become a problem of like, oh, I'm not good enough, what did I do wrong, kind of thing. And I'm like, dude, I'm just like sad, like I can just exist here and not have to be happy all the time and have to make sure you're okay all the time. We're two own people. And so I'm the type of person that like if I don't have anything to say, I don't really like to fill the air with just like whatever. So I do have my little moments where like my social battery will get drained and I'll just get a little quiet throughout the day. It's nothing personal or anything like that. But the guy that I'm seeing now, when he picks up on that, he kind of like checks in and he gives me this look and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm okay." And for some reason, I've noticed that kind of is triggering to me because of my ex. And we kind of just had a conversation about it. And I was like, "Hey, like, you know, when you like check in on me, I know you're being so genuine when you do it. And I know it's because you care." I was like, "But for some reason, I cannot put my finger on it, but it kind of triggers me. And it makes me feel like you're just, I don't know, like it just feels like I'm being monitored, essentially."
Okay.
And I explained that to him, and he was just like very receptive, and he was like, "Yeah." And I think the reason that it made me feel a certain way is because like I don't want him to think that he's done anything wrong.
Got you. Okay. I got you.
And yeah, so he was super cool about that, and he was like, "Yeah, no, got it. But promise me that like if something ever is wrong, like you'll come to me about it." And I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like, don't worry, I got you. Like, if I have any issues, I'm a big girl and I know how to communicate, and I will surely let you know."
Gotcha.
And so,
okay.
Yeah.
Couple more questions. Do you know why his last relationship ended?
They basically had different ideas of what they wanted. She wanted more of like the white picket fence kind of ordeal, and he wanted to buy an RV, which he did, and travel more. And then he said that he there were a couple times where he wanted to propose to her, but they were just like butting heads a lot. And every time that he kind of considered like getting a ring, something in the relationship came up, and they were just kind of drifting apart, I guess.
Okay. Everything's checking out so far. You said that y'all matched on Hinge, but y'all are 4 hours apart. How did that happen?
I was traveling.
Okay. Okay. All right. I mean, so far so good. I don't see any problem with it. So yeah, I would say that if you feel that way about him, you can go ahead and communicate it, right? Like there's no need to wait, you know. I know people are weird about that because they're like, it gives your power away, but it's like when you are, playing power dynamics, engaging in that, you've already lost the plot. So you might as well just express yourself. And if it does make people act weird, then it was a filtering mechanism. So the real challenge is going to be if you're used to chaos and this person is more peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
that can definitely create issues, like you said, self-sabotaging. So you're just gonna have to put yourself in check. Like it's not an easy thing to solve. I would say it's
Yeah.
just awareness is going a long way with it, where like you're just aware, you having the awareness of knowing that you sometime will seek out chaos and then do the opposite thing that you feel your body calling you to do is just the way out of that, right? So
Yeah.
it's the same thing with if we're talking about attachment styles, right? An avoidant person is afraid of enmeshment and losing their independence. They have a lot of fear around that. So
Mm-hmm.
their whole body, everything in their body will be screaming for them to create space. And the way they get over that is ignoring it and leaning in, right? Just like it's opposite day. You do the opposite of what your system is telling you to do. Same thing with anxious people. You do the opposite. And over time, you show your you retrain your nervous system. Like, oh, this is actually a safe environment, right?
Yeah.
So the trick for you is going to be to not create problems out of nowhere, just to make things more stimulating, and then
Mm-hmm.
also to not listen to anything telling you that you're bored in the connection. It's just
Yeah.
enduring. Enduring is going to be the the way forward until you can fully metabolize the connection. But I would say even you asking this question and being thoughtful about it, a lot of the people who sabotage these situations,
Mm-hmm.
they're not seeking any kind of counsel on it.
Yeah.
They're not second guessing themselves at all. Your tendency
Yeah.
to second guess yourself is going to be a blessing in this situation. Okay? Assuming that things continue to go the way that they're going. There's nothing about the story that you I ask you a lot of questions on purpose to kind of get a feel for the person that you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
Everything seems coherent. When I ask these questions, I'm looking for incoherence. I'm looking for what
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Does anything about this not make sense? Okay, the past, like relationship, like 4 years. Okay, so he has the capacity to be in a long term relationship. Okay, why did it end? Did that make sense? Is he just blaming the ex, or is there like a reasonable reason why it ended? And there's a reasonable reason
Right.
why it ended.
Yeah.
It's
No, yeah. I was looking for
incompatibility.
that too when I was asking him them questions.
Right, right. So it's like there's
Gotta take
nothing.
accountability sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing so far. That doesn't mean that there's nothing there. I'm just saying that there's nothing based
Right.
on what you shared with me that would suggest that like there's any kind of problems. Obviously, you're both human,
Mm.
right? So you're gonna have flaws, but there's no kind of glaring red flag that would tell me to say run. So I say keep exploring it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I plan to because this man is amazing. I kid you not. Um, yeah. So, like I said, I definitely been calling myself out on my shit, and I've been like,
Right.
"No, girl, those are your inner thoughts that are trying to betray you." And
Hmm.
yeah, I've been doing pretty good so far. And I even got my sister to keep me in check because she's like,
Yeah, she's
"Girl,
gonna
you
be an
better not fuck
asset.
this up."
She's definitely gonna be an asset. She's not gonna let you mess this up. But definitely keep me posted as things progress. Come back. I'm live daily, so definitely follow. Come back
Yeah.
and let me know how things go for you. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, love. You take care. All right, that's a promising connection. I'd like to see when that happens. See, we get one of the fellas up here. We got any fellas in the queue? There we go.
Oh, hello.
What's going on?
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. This is my first time ever seeing your show.
Okay. Well, welcome.
Well, thank you.
What can I do for you?
So I hear you talking about the attachment style. So my question is not really about relationships. It's more so about that aspect of things because I really just heard about them last week, and so I love studying people and myself and just getting better and all of that stuff. So I went and took the test, and I'm also going to read the book soon as I get more credits on my Audible.
Okay.
So my question.
Let's give her a second to come back.
Me?
Okay. I didn't hear what you said. You kind of lost connection for a
Oh
little
man,
while.
I was just talking away. I went to get I went to get my styles so I can tell you what they are.
Okay.
So because you have two, or at least I did. My primary was secure, and then my second one was something to do with fear. Can I go look really fast? Can you give me 2 seconds?
Sure. Yeah, I have zero patience for people not asking the question. Sure, what he said.
So
Spit the question
my
out.
second one was fearful. So that's my question. Can you tell me more about those styles?
Your
And
second
I'm
one.
glad I don't read the comments because I don't see them. So
Your
you're just
second one
cracking
was your second one was fearful. Fearful what?
up. It didn't say. It just says fearful.
Okay.
Like fearful avoidance, maybe, or something.
Okay. Yeah, typically it's fearful avoidant, but so I don't really put much stock into the test. It's best to just analyze. Like I think it's very helpful to read the types and then do your own assessment of like your past relationship experience to give clarity there. So, have you been in any relationships?
Of course.
Okay. And what was your experience like in those relationships? Like what kind of problems did you face? Let me ask you a better question. Why did your last relationship end?
Oh, that's easy. He cheated.
Okay. You cheated and you didn't stay after he cheated.
I didn't stay. No, not at all.
Okay. Okay. And you've never stayed after somebody has cheated.
No, I didn't stay after he cheated. Not because I wouldn't stay, but there were other things there, so I used that as an excuse to get out of the relationship.
Okay. What's your longest relationship?
My longest relationship was my son's father, which was 5 years.
Okay. And why did that one end?
I got saved. I gave my life to Jesus, and he didn't. He wanted to stay in the streets,
Gotcha. Okay.
and so we weren't aligned.
I got you. What is most of your experience when it comes to relationships? Do you feel a lot more anxiety in relationships, or do you feel like you avoid difficult situations?
I'm non-confrontational, so I I can say honestly, for a long time, I feel like I was a runner. Like if I didn't want to deal with something, I would run away. But I don't do that anymore. Like I just tapping into some things and finding out like my identity and becoming more secure in myself. I'm able to face difficult things now, but you can't really say that until you're like in a relationship again, I guess,
Okay.
to test those theories out. But
Right.
I feel like I've grown a lot, and I feel like I wouldn't run. I would stay and face something.
Okay, but historically you ran.
Historically, I have run,
Okay. Gotcha.
but not just in the area of relationships, just in the area of life, period, in
Gotcha.
general.
Gotcha. Okay. So the way you deal with like anxiety or discomfort is you just remove yourself.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Do you have any issues with like being vulnerable
Of course.
in a relationship?
I had issues with being vulnerable. I'm able to be vulnerable now, but it's still really uncomfortable.
Okay. All right. If you're talking to a guy or dating a guy and you send him like a text and he doesn't respond for like a few hours, but he normally responds pretty consistently, does that make you feel any kind of way, or does it like not matter to you?
It's not really a big deal because of I guess the type of men I deal with. That's to be expected. Like, if you own a business or you're like important,
Okay.
that's to be expected.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, so far you sound avoidant, definitely not secure. The problem is people take these tests when they're single and they think they've done a whole bunch of healing while being single. So they answer the question from a perspective of like their higher self, like their best self, right? Their self that they are right now being single. That's not the same you that is in a relationship, right? When you're actively being triggered by somebody else's behavior. Probably not going to behave the way that you think you're going to behave unless you have proof that you can behave that way, right? So it's like when you answer the questions on the test, it should be answered from the perspective of like, what have you actually done? Now, what do you think you would do now? Right?
Yeah.
So you getting the test like secure, definitely not secure based on what you just told me. Definitely not secure. So that tells me you were answering the questions based on like, well, I think I would do this. What have you done in the past?
Okay,
So
what is secure and what is avoidance?
secure is just people who have the capacity for closeness, but then also the capacity for solitude. They're not threatened by either. Just to oversimplify it, I can't go into everything. Now we'll be talking for a long time. It's pretty much what secure is. Avoidantly attached people have a fear of enmeshment and losing their independence, right? So someone getting too close to them. They don't like people to need them or to place any expectations on them. They tend to prefer like a situationship dynamic where we kind of are already acting like we're in a relationship, but there's no expectations on me. You don't feel entitled to my time and attention. You don't need me, right? That's dismissive avoidant. Anxious preoccupied, fear abandonment, right? And people leaving them. They fear being alone. So they'll bend over backwards to get you to stay. They also can be kind of manipulative and controlling. They're trying to get you to stay. And then the last one is fearful avoidance or disorganized, which is a mixture of both dismissive avoidant and anxious preoccupied. So that person has both insecure attachment styles. And they're the most complicated one to deal with because they're pretty much at war with themselves internally. So they both want closeness, but also fear it once they get it. And it can come across as like very confusing behavior.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's all I have for you. Thank you so much.
No problem, love. You take care.
You too.
All right. My fellas in. We got no fellas in the queue? No problem, Eris. Okay, Mira dropped. Let's see who else we got. Did she drop? No, she requested again. What's going on, Mira? Hi.
I hope that you will be able to understand me. I'm calling from France.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I never have been in a relationship. The longest one was 5 months, I would say. And I am 34 years now. And I've been traveling and I try to get to know myself, to be able to be by my own, to not be sad about the fact of not being in a relationship. But I'm comfortable with myself because I can spend like 3 weeks after work. I would be by myself reading or do whatever. And sometimes I'm studying as well. But I have a kind of issue that is like on the dating app when we fix a date of dating and sometimes they don't reach out. When they don't, I also don't reach out because I'm like, why would I remind an adult to spend the time with me? And last weekend I had a date that went really well. It was really a nice date. We had like conversation. There was no blank and anything. But we decided to meet today, and he didn't reach out, and which I didn't as well. Which was kind of, I wouldn't say sad, but unfortunate somehow. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what's happening most of the time. And there is another one I was supposed to meet yesterday, and is out of Paris, and there's the trains that go out of Paris are not kind of safe. In the evening, I said that it is not safe for me, and yeah, I said okay next time, but I don't want to come inside Paris as a black woman. I am not safe in some place. I would like to date somebody that will be interested on my safety, that my safety would be important for him, even if I'm not a black woman, but as a woman, I think it might be important for that person. So I don't know if the issue is for me, because I like to, most of the time, I like to put myself into questions, even if it's a love-wise or friendship, is to know if I am the problem or the problem is the others.
Okay. So your main problem is like you're single and you don't want to be, and you want to make sure like that you're not causing any issues that's preventing a relationship. Is that the question?
Yeah, and it's not like I really don't want to be, but I don't want to waste my time with somebody that's not like showing much interest.
Okay. And the person that you were currently talking to, uh, y'all had a date scheduled, and then you just didn't hear from him again.
Yeah, and it was even the person that it was the one that is suggest to date today.
Okay. How are you meeting these men?
From Inch.
From Hinge.
Mm.
All right. That's going to be the first problem, love. I don't recommend dating apps, right? Like,
Okay.
you can use them to supplement your dating life, right? To just have an additional tool, but they should never be the bulk of your dating experience, because the pool that you date in matters. And dating apps kind of bring out the worst in us because they incentivize you to entertain multiple people simultaneously. And that creates a whole host of issues, right? So that's going to be the first problem. I don't know if you're in a situation where you have to use dating apps. Would you say that you have to
Yeah,
use
it's
them?
kind of difficult to meet. I don't know where I will be meeting people, because at work I don't, even since I was a student, I've never been with my classmates. Same as work is where I meet people, and yeah, I go out with my girlfriend's restaurant. I really don't do party anymore, so I don't know where I can meet people.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying don't use dating apps. It just that can't be the only way. So what I've always told people is to go to static environments. So static, I don't know if this is relevant to the country that you're in, but static environments are defined as environments where you see the same people over and over and over again, right? This is why it was easier to make romantic connections when you were in school. And it's also the reason why a lot of people want to date their coworkers, because when you're around the same people over and over again, you build up familiarity with them, and familiarity can open the door to attraction. Okay?
Okay.
So I always suggest both men and women to find different static environments so that they can take a more community focused approach to dating, right? And that oftentimes, but I also, with that, I also always suggest that you shouldn't look at it as it's a dating problem. Look at it as a social problem, because
Okay.
people who have the most vibrant and active social lives tend to have the best dating lives, right?
Mm.
So if you treat it like it's a social problem, you often will get better results. So treating it like a social problem would mean, again, putting yourself in a static environment like a run club, The gym could also be considered a static environment if you go daily. Some sort of hobby like hiking or um, just different hobbies, right? Where you maybe weekly, bi-weekly, maybe dance lessons, stuff like that, dance class. Those are places where you can see the same people over and over and over again. And then when you're there, you're not just scouting for men, right? You're just connecting with people socially. Like you make platonic connections as well as potential romantic connections because the more platonic connections you can make, the more friends or acquaintances you can make, the more you increase the potential of meeting a romantic connection through those people. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes. We just next week. I'm going to go back to the pool to subscribe to swimming again. So maybe this would be a way to meet people.
Yeah, but again, make sure it's an environment where like you're seeing the same people and over again. The opposite of a static environment is a dynamic environment, which means every time you go, there's different people. So like a bar would be a dynamic environment, right? Going to brunch or going to a restaurant, right, is a dynamic environment because every time you go, there's different people. You want there to be the same people, right? Because in a dynamic environment, a man may be afraid to approach you because he's only seeing you once. In a static environment, he may not approach you the first 2 times he sees you, but the 3rd time he may approach you, right? Because he's seeing you over and over and over again. You may become a bit desensitized to how scary it is to approach you. You see what I'm saying? So it's just there's multiple reasons why I would suggest that strategy, but I think I've given you enough to work with so far. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, love. Keep me posting how it goes, all right? All right.
Thank
bye.
you.
All right, no more calls. If you have a question, you can drop in the chat. I'll hang out with y'all for a little bit, answer some questions in the chat, but no more calls. We had a good consistency of good calls today. Normally we get we got a dud, right? Throw 1 or 2 duds in the midst, but tonight was pretty consistent. What was y'all's favorite call from tonight? Favorite call, most helpful call, lessons learned. Danny set the tone. Yeah, I think it was good having Danny come in at the beginning to kind of set the tone. So I appreciate you, Danny, with your very thoughtful questions. You kind of set the stage for the rest of the callers. Mira. Which one was Mira? What did she talk about? I forgot. Oh, the last one, my apologies. The last one was Mira. I don't remember these names, man. I remember Eris for other reasons, but everyone else I kind of forgot about. Chemistry first, compatibility second. No one says that, right? I gotta make some content about that. For sure. Why am I rubbing my beard? I like doing it. It feels good. The one with the nice voice. Who had the nice voice? The one who fell in love after a month and a half. Such a cute person. That was Eris, right? Yeah, I think that was Eris. Was good. So far, no crazy relationship. Like BBWs. What are we talking about there? Did you stop streaming? I did not. I appreciate the call out. Let me go ahead and stop. All right, YouTube, y'all be easy. For anyone who misses the live, like I go live daily.